Hi, Fashion Dolls. It is Motivation Monday, May 2nd, and welcome to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. Our very special guest is from Brooklyn, New York. He is an award winning actor, director, writer, and producer, and you might have seen him on such projects such as CW's Black Lightning. Joining me today, ladies and gentlemen, we have Choice Skinner. And today is also Met Gala fashion coverage, so we are going to do this interview swiftly and promptly so that I can get into this coverage tonight because it's going to be so much fashion dolls. So without further ado, let me share this live with Choice so that we can dive right into this interview, ladies and gentlemen. All right, are you guys ready? I'm super excited, ladies and gentlemen, for this interview today, and I hope you guys are as well too. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Style by Stevie. I'm super excited. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, award-winning actor, director, producer, Choice Skinner. Let me add him. Hello, hello.
What's going on, Steve? How you doing?
I'm great. Welcome to the Dollhouse. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks for having me. Appreciative of inviting me somewhere.
Yes. Welcome. So before we kick off this interview, how has 2022 been for you thus far? Because I know it's been difficult for a lot of us actors, producers, content creators with this pandemic going on to juggle with all of this madness. So how's it been for you thus far?
Yeah, I have a friend that says hope is for losers. But add to that, hope is for those who put the work in to make things a little bit better. So I've been productive. I've been artistic. I have some things in the pike that I want to fully invest in and get moving. It has been truly tough, and I know a lot of people that are going through that tough times right now. For me, it's been a thing of just figuring out what's next in my direction because I always make sure that I have a plan of action. So if I don't have a plan of action, I get a little bit frustrated and flustered. But for me, it's a thing of just looking towards seeing what the mid quarter is going to be, what the summer's going to be like.
And I see a few famous faces in the audience. Shout outs to Bo Emerson. I did an interview with him previously. Shout outs to you. Hey, Bo. And I also see Gio Perez. Hi, Gio Official. Welcome. Welcome to the Dollhouse, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with Choice Skinner. And we're just talking about, this pandemic, how it's been difficult for a lot of us balancing this out with having to go around with these COVID restrictions. And you grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I have family in New York, in Brownsville.
Word.
So I know what it's like. Yes, Brownsville, Harlem, all of it. The five boroughs, my father is deep down in there. I have cousins up there.
Okay.
So I know what it's like with, the shutdown in New York and how it's affected a lot of people up there as well.
Yeah. It's been tough for a lot of people, but some people actually prospered from it. I mean, I hear some people that say, "Ah, man, COVID has been the best thing for me," and I'm like, I wish I could be in those shoes. But for a lot of people, it's been really tough making the adjustment. I know for me, because I was an acting coach in LA. I was one of the biggest acting coaches out there, and I had to shut everything down to come and take care of my mom here in Georgia. And so I get students all the time now who are upset that we don't have the class anymore. But I do have a book coming out eventually. It's just some things like I said, I'm moving pieces into each other so that way I can be a lot more productive than what I've been in the past 2 years.
Wow. And we're going to start right into this journey. So for the past few years, we're going to start right into this journey. Now, how did you start your journey off as an actor? Because you are an award-winning actor, producer, director, and I know you from hit shows such as CW's Black Light. That's how I grew to know you. So, how does it feel, and what made you want to get into acting? Did you always know that this was one of your passions, one of your goals?
Well, I originally started out in music. I was a music producer and writer, and growing up in Brooklyn. Um, Shout out to Shadi and Mark and April, all my peoples who I started out with when it came to the music side, pursuing a music career. Wanted to be really, really, I wanted to be on Prince level. That was my objective. And so we played a lot of stuff in the live band and everything. And then I moved to Georgia. In Georgia, I continued on with the music aspirations. And then I met an R&B artist who came out here. I'm not going to mention his name, but he came out to Georgia and offered me a position in LA. And that's how I ended up in LA. Once I got into the music industry out in LA, in the late 90s, they started folding a lot of the labels. And so there was really no work anymore like how it used to be. It was very productive and lucrative for people in the early 90s. Once the late 80s came, once the late 90s came, it got really tough. And so I transitioned and segued into doing film. And I started doing stunts and using martial arts. I've been studying martial arts since I was 15 years old. So using martial arts, I segued into stunts. And then I had my stunt coordinator, instructor, Art Camacho, he told me, "You suck at acting, kid." And I was like, okay, well, how do I get better? And he said, go take a class. So I started studying at Expressions Unlimited under Bobby Chance, who's trained like Giovanni Ribisi, Drew Barrymore. I mean, she's a lot of people in the industry. And so I was proud to be one of those people who moved up in ranks and study under her. And then that's when I started getting into film and television and stuff. So the Black Lightning thing was basically, I did a short film, and Black Lightning, they used a lot of stuff from what we did. So that was that convoluted mess with that. But still to this day, I get people hit me up saying, "Hey man, you did a great job with that." So that's the long and short end of it when it comes to how I made my transition into film and acting. Because I wanted to just get better at being able to do stunts, but the acting called.
So has it been difficult for that transition from growing up where you're at in New York to now moving and, jump starting your acting career, leaving family and things behind? Has it been difficult for you and then finding that balance?
You asked some really good questions. Actually, New York and Brooklyn prepared me for acting. I had been writing short stories since I was a kid, and I guess I was acting when I was a kid because I put on a play when I was a kid, a ghetto Romeo and Juliet, me and this girl in the building at 417 East New York, where we lived. I went out and passed flyers out. I made cookies, had a little red cape, and we did this little performance of Romeo and Juliet in the back of the building. And everybody came out and watched. It was crazy to watch. And when I think back, I go, man, this is something that I've been prepared to do all my life. The transition has never really been tough. I've always been keen on knowing what I want to do. I have like this kingship mentality. I'm like, if you're a king, there's a scene from The Crown where Queen Elizabeth and John Lithgow plays. He plays Winston Churchill, and he tells her there's nothing but the. Mm-hmm. And I've always had that in my mind. I have this process of how I see things: God first, then my career, then me, and then my family, friends, and loved ones. Because God gives you the talent to be able to work. When you work, that's how you're able to take care of yourself. You can't take care of anybody else if you don't take care of yourself. So those are the steps that I look at. And I look at people as saying, you have to know why you're here. I think the first 20 years of our life, we're looking to figure out who we are. And in the next 20 years of our life, we're looking to figure out what we're here to do. And in the final 20 years of our life, if you live that long, you're looking to figure out, okay, what did I leave behind? You see what I'm saying? So when you're questioning yourself and that stuff, that's when you start to make the understanding of, oh, okay, this thing is a lot bigger than me. And so I always say your circumstances don't define you. Right? You and I, we talked about that. You texted me and you told me some stuff that happened. And I said, well, your circumstances don't define you. Your strength of who you are and what you've been fighting in order to do in your life, that doesn't define you. What defines you is how you overcome it. And I always tell that to actors, and I tell that to people in the industry. Like this, you have that day. What are you going to do with that day?
Absolutely. And you said you always tell that to actors. You've been an acting coach for 12 years, 12, yeah. 13 years. Wow. And you've inspired, see, Bo and so many other actors. Did you know you had an impact when going into this, becoming an acting coach? Did you know you had an impact that you've already made your mark on the acting world? Going into this, inspiring other actors like I was watching this interview with Regina King, and it was Ingenue Ellis, and they were doing the Hollywood Reporter, and it's called Actors on Actors. And these two ladies were giving flowers to each other. So, would you consider doing something like that, giving flowers to the next generation of actors that are coming after you? Because you have people that idolize you, look up to.
Yeah, I mean, I've been blessed to work with some of the top actors in Hollywood. There's some that I can never mention because of how they work. A lot of actors want you to believe that they were hatched out of an egg. I invested time in people. You can't get time back. Time is what you invest. So when you say flowers, when you say accolades and
Mm-hmm.
giving that love to people who are coming up. You're looking at someone like Jason Woods. You're looking at Daphne McGarry Clark. She was the one that actually put the seed in me to establish the Breaking Through Acting workshop. You're looking at Farley Jackson. You're looking at Ramsey Phillips. You're looking at a lot of the people who I've coached throughout the years that are doing phenomenal things. Yeah, those people are moving on to the next level. Um, Brianna Winslow, who's over in Europe right now on a month doing a big feature film. To see those people walk into the studio not knowing who they are, not having any type of inspiration, and then now they're off doing big projects and big films. That's who I'm looking forward to. There's those people that excite me. There's those people that keep me interested in seeing where they're going with their career. I love it. I just started work with Antonio Dean Smith. He's a martial arts student and friend of mine. He just started acting. We did a little short together, and it's very interesting. It's going to be coming out soon. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with that, because you can only plant the seed in people. It's up to them to take it to the next level. You can only inspire them. Everyone's always asking for those gems. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
looking for gems. Those gems. It's like, okay, so what are you going to do with them? If I give you a big diamond, what do you do with that diamond? And so the flowers that you mentioned, it's a thing of seeing people take their career to the. I've so many people that I started out with who came out in LA and were homeless and sleeping on people's couches and going from spot to spot and wearing the same thing to the auditions, and you see them and you're saying to yourself, how many outfits do you have? Because this is the same thing I saw you at the last few auditions, and then now to see them with two-story homes or $3.5 million houses and 2 or 3 Teslas, and they're working on 5 different TV shows, whether writing and acting in them or producing and directing. And back in my day, directing, writing, and producing was unheard of for a Black actor. That didn't exist. And so now when you look at that and you say, man, you can do so many different
Yeah.
things. It's all available to you. Um, those flowers are going to be there because you just keep doing the work.
And I spoke a little bit about this with Bo and Farley and Behorn Patty, who did Candy's best-selling stage play, Thoughts of a Colored Man. And he said that as well too, that we want to give more opportunities to actors and writers of color for us to shine and showcase our projects, because we know how Hollywood is with the whole Oscar situation. I'm not even going to get into that. We
Thank
still have a long way to go. Do you feel as though we're slowly but surely making progress, or there's some more work that needs to be done?
Well, there's been a lot of progress. I mean, when I was acting, which I still act, but when I was acting on a higher level of going into the room and auditioning and stuff, there was hardly any roles. There was hardly anything written. We had a big strike, and Black people were the first to get knocked off the list. But Hollywood needs us. As much as they complain about us, as much as we go through struggling to make things happen, they need us. They need the Black community, period. The world needs the Black community. We move things. I mean, when you look at TikTok, you see the latest dances is Black people. We
Mm-hmm.
look at the top films, they're top films because Black women, who is the biggest audience on the planet, is talking about it with everybody. They talking about it with all their friends. And girl, you need to watch this. And so I knew this for a long time. I knew Black Panther was going to be what it was, because you have to serve an underserved market. And so what I'm saying, basically, to sum up what you had asked, and a brilliant question that you had asked was, we have to take advantage of helping each other more now than ever, because it doesn't take anything for that to be taken away. Hollywood, I put up recently about nepotism, Hollywood and nepotism. The Black community is really bad at it, unfortunately. There's nepotism all in the industry, yes, and of course with our white counterparts. But as a Black community, we're still fresh and new, and we're still babes at all of this. And so we need to not just push agendas, because I think a lot of work has become agenda based and driven, which I get it. Everyone wants to be heard. Everyone wants to be respected and seen. But we need to make sure we're making quality material and not just throwing stuff up against the wall hoping it's going to stick.
And when you said that, when you've mentioned Black women, I think of when we're talking about the director standpoint, the actress standpoint, I think of Issa Rae. I think of Ava DuVernay. I think of Regina King. I think of Gina Prince, Blythewood. I think of Lena Waithe. I think of so many that are out here shining and thriving and showing that.
There's a ton of them. I mean, listen, my thing is don't deprive certain circles just in order to push certain things. Everybody is equal. Everybody gets the love. Everybody gets the flowers. Don't make 5 programs where you exclude certain people. Make everyone benefits from it. We all have a lot. There's that phrase that everyone says, Black people aren't a monolith. I start laughing when I see that now, because it's like there's got to be at least five more phrases that we can use. Yes, we know we're not a monolith, but what are we doing to progress the culture as a whole? Not just individualized people or individualized agendas. Let's push all of this stuff at the same, and it's possible. It's very possible. But when you're dealing with Hollywood is what's the next big thing. We want the next big thing. We want the next big person. We want the next. And so it'll be 15 of those types of movies, or 15 of those types of people, or those types of looks. And then that's how the doors get closed on other people. Rather than saying, what do you have? There's a story we haven't seen lately that we need to see. Tangerine wouldn't have been what it was if it wasn't for independent filmmakers. It wouldn't have happened. They did it on an iPhone. They told their story. And so I'm very big on independent filmmaking, because I realize that, especially now with the COVID protocols, 20% of the budget. So if you're struggling to get your budget up as an independent filmmaker, how are you going to meet COVID protocol? You see? So it's a thing of like, okay, yeah, I get it. Do it on an iPhone, but guess what? Do your homework too. Go to YouTube. YouTube University has all that information. But it takes the work ethic, though. It takes the work ethic and the drive to make that stuff happen. So, yeah, you're totally right. I mean, I think more now than ever, to sum up what you had asked me about when it comes to the Black community, there's more work now than ever. I see people who may have one credit in big feature films, don't know how it happened. There's no method to the madness. I get people get upset because they go, well, Instagram, I don't want to do it. And it's like, well, listen, you have to understand the mechanics and the specs and the numbers in regards to what producers have to put up with when they're making a film. If I'm making a film and my budget is $50,000 or $100,000, first off, I gotta appease the distributors. I have to have at least maybe 1 or 2 names in there somehow. Don't know how, but I got to make that happen. Second off, there's no marketing budget. So if I get you as an actor in my film, what are you going to do to help make this film become popularized, to be seen? And a lot of actors don't understand that, because they feel like, well, that's your job. And it's like, no, we're in this together. We're in this together. And the reason why casting directors are asking about people's social media status is because there's no marketing budgets. There's no advertising budgets. The studios and the people who are behind the finances don't want to give that money up. So that's why a lot of talented actors are getting beat out by actors who have 200,000 Instagram followers, or 500,000 Facebook or Twitter followers. And people are getting mad about it, but it's like, you know what? You either adapt or you disappear into the ether. And so that's the thing. It is. Someone said it's a collaborative effort. Yes, Jason, it is a huge collaborative effort nowadays. You should, and in fact, listen. As an actor, I was always privileged and happy that someone gave me an opportunity. I was always ecstatic because I grew up in the project. So, just getting cheese, standing in line and getting some cheese was like, yo, we got some cheese. We make some cheese crackers on the radiator. We're going to do what we got to do. So if someone's giving me an opportunity and they pick me out of 200 people, I'm going to make sure you know about what I got going on. Not just talking about booked. I'm going to push this thing until the film has no more legs.
Absolutely. And speaking of pushing it, and you've mentioned short films, you worked and participated in Octavia Spencer's short film,
Did your home?
which is A Second Thought.
You
Tell
did.
us, what was that experience like working alongside Oscar-winning actress Octavia?
Yeah, I mean, that was, we all live our lives, and some of us will always be like, I ain't never win nothing. Well, I have to remind myself when I'm about to say that sometimes that that's not true. Like, I won the Wheel of Fortune. I was on the Wheel of Fortune. I won $13,600. I won the Wheel of Fortune. And so that came up because Octavia, who she is, the glorious shining light that she had just won the Oscar, and she said she wanted to give back. She wanted to pay it forward. So she had went on Facebook. I was following her on Facebook, and she had went on Facebook and she had posted that she was looking for shorts to be posted on her wall, and the best short would win $1,000, a tripod, a camera, and entrance into her film festival that she was sponsoring at that time. And so I had did a short with Juan Gill and Farley Jackson, my best friend. He had did a co-produced with me. And it was a short that we did. Actually, wow. You know what? It's coming up on the anniversary. I just thought about it because we shot it on Mother's Day. We picked a day. We shot it on Mother's Day. Veronica Mija, Juan Gill. We got on a bus, and we went back and forth on the bus. And I wanted to tell a story of a guy who had HIV because that was popular at that time. It was a subject matter that needed to be discussed. And I shot it on an iPhone. And it won. And I got this message through Facebook. I thought it was a joke. When people hit me up on Facebook, I'm very cordial, I'm very receptive because you never know who's contacting me. That's how you contacted me.
Yeah.
It was like, and you won. I was like, and it said, I'm a representative of Octavia Spencer. We just needed to know where to send the check. And I'm very big on scams, so don't think you can scam me.
Same here.
So I was like, okay. And then I got the check, I got the camera, I got the tripod. It all came to me. Next thing I know, we was in New York at the film festival. And man, it was like such an experience to be connected with her for the rest of my life in that regards. I think she's awesome. I didn't get to meet her though. Believe it or not, didn't get to meet her, but I know her hairdresser, Valerie Noble, who is a really, really good friend of hers and of my business, a friend of mine as well, a very close friend of mine, Dimitri Luaso. Valerie Noble works directly with Octavia. So I'm always telling her, tell Octavia, say hi, and tell her I'm still doing big things with what she implemented. Because from having the camera, I started doing headshots and photography, and now I'm at a point I can just pick up the camera and do what I want to do. So, wow, you did your homework on that. It was a good one.
Yes, I definitely had to for this interview.
Yeah.
Definitely had to. So with all of this coming along, all of this success, winning the competition for Octavia Spencer, being on this hit television show, how does it feel for you? Do you ever have that moment where you're sitting and you're thinking like, wow? Because I'm a big person of self-revelation, self-reflection, and just sitting back and being still in the moment. Did you think for a minute like, wow, I can't believe this is happening?
Um, Sometimes, a lot of times, I say it was foretold. Um, I, I had a very tumultuous childhood as a kid. Dealt with a lot of violence and abuse and stuff. Not from my mom, but just in different scenarios and different people and different environments. Um, and I always knew there was something more. And that's why when I speak to people, I'm always telling them, you have to understand this thing is bigger than you, but you are a major part of it.
Mm.
right? So it's bigger than you, but you're a major part of it. And what you contribute makes the difference. And so I kind of always knew that I would be doing things. We're gifted with every day that God gives us to keep moving forward and to accomplish. I sometimes feel like I'm not doing enough. Whether that's touching people or whether that's, I mean, I have a list of screenplays that I want to get done, and there's actors that I want to work with, and there's things I want to do, and people. I have a film that I would love for Denzel and his son to be in. I mean, there's just so much that I want to accomplish. So every time something happens, people say, "Aren't you excited?" I don't get excited until I'm able to look back. Like I got excited when you mentioned A Second Thought, because it was like, man, we shot that on Mother's Day. Like that was probably almost 10 years ago, actually. Yeah, it was 10 years ago. So it's coming up for 10-year anniversary. And so I don't know. There's just so much. Yeah, I love the Black community. I just want to entertain, and I want to uplift us. I want to tell stories. I want to make sure we are all seen as who we are. Right? So I don't know.
Absolutely. And we have a couple questions for you. We got one from Liz Music from New York. She wants to know, what lifelong lesson have you learned from the art form you have chose to flourish?
Ooh, man, y'all coming with the heat. I learned who I am. I learned who I am. I think creativity and art will teach you you. Now, whether you like yourself or not, that's something you have to make peace with. And I think because I've seen some people at their height of their level of their work hate themselves. And it's like, okay, there's still things that we all go through stuff in childhood. All of us. It's how we establish our battle, our day-to-day battle, and how we have to move forward. And so creativity, the outlet of creativity, whether it's through music, dance, acting, because I always say artists, I don't just say actors, because I work with them all. Derek Dominique, I was just on the phone with him. Look him up, guys. His music is incredible. This guy's doing 100 some odd songs in 100 some odd days. So he's doing a song every day. Every day I get a different song on my phone, in my text. He makes a song every day. That's on some Prince level. Prince was making songs every day. Derek is an amazing artist, and he's contributed to my film A New Life, and also my short film Hope that we're working on. That's the point of what I'm making. He's so confident in knowing that he can do it. So that's what creativity, to answer your question, the person asked the question, creativity helps you know you. And that's the greatest aspect of power for yourself. Self-acknowledgement, self-understanding, you, getting to know you, and accepting that, you know, we're flawed, but guess what? Just be decent. Be a decent person. That's most of it. Respect each other, love each other, and just be decent.
It's about humanity. And yesterday I had this conversation with, oh, I forget. I had so many guests on the show. Please, y'all forgive me. I had Elijah Nickleby. I had artist Elijah Nickleby on the show yesterday, and we were talking about just humbleness and being still and in the moment and appreciating things. And he also mentioned something else, which is being in the present. So that's one thing we also have to appreciate as well too. Um, we got a question from Bo. What is an affirmation you say to yourself to keep going? And another question from JC underscore nation. How long have you been acting?
Okay, well, those actually go hand in hand. I've been acting pretty much all my life. If you look at my Instagram, you'll find there's a picture of me in a Viking outfit with a little hat, and I was playing Eric the Red. That was way back in elementary school. So I just didn't realize I was acting back then. I just always made sure I had creative outlets, because I think, and some of us can attest to this, those who've been through abuse and violence in our life as children, we look for those outlets. We look for those glorious ways of finding whimsical things to get away from our life. And so, yeah, I've been acting all my life, but professionally acting, I've been acting professionally, I'd say, Let's see, 2012. I gotta go back a little bit, 6 years. Okay, 2006. So, 16 years I've been acting professionally. The affirmation of to keep going, Bo, is going back to what I said about knowing that this thing is bigger than you. It's something that Whoopi Goldberg said that I never forgot. She said, acting is in my blood, it's in my DNA. Very powerful. Acting is in my blood, it's in my DNA. And so going back to what you had said about these 2 years, there was so many other things that I was thinking, well, maybe I need to do this because of money. Maybe I need to do that. And the way God will work it is he'll bring you right back full circle. He'll make you be patient and be like, nah, you're going to do this because this is, we all have those doubts. I think everyone has the doubt every day, every second of their life. I think Anthony Hopkins said he quit 5 times before he got Signs of the Lambs. And he said that was the last time he had actually quit. He was done, and he got Signs of the Lambs. And look at him now; he's one of our greatest actors, thespians. The affirmation is every day waking up and asking yourself, are you doing something for your talent? Even if it's a little photo or something. What are you doing? I got a whole bunch of skits. I actually ordered a mask for one of these skits that I got coming up. It's funny as hell, and I'm gonna drop it. And so I'm doing these little things. And so don't think just because you're not on the level of Regina King or Lena Waithe or Denzel Washington that you're not there professionally. Because I think people confuse it, and I used to tell this in my acting studio, people confuse money with success. And success is getting it done. Doesn't matter what it is. If you got it done, that is success. Now the money, yes, the money opens up doors. The money takes the stress away of being able to make it from day to day. How you gonna pay your light bill? How you gonna pay your rent? How you gonna eat?
Absolutely.
But I know people that got money and they're miserable. So, and my mom, we talk about it all the time. She's like, yeah, they got money, but they're miserable. I'm like, right, but at the same time, you need that money to be able to go and do certain things. It's something that Derek and I was talking about today on the phone. He was like, he can do all those things. So it's hard to find people that work as hard as you. You see? So we got to make sure. It's like what Will Smith has said. He said, while you sleep, he's on the tread machine. He's on the tread machine running. And so if we look at it this way, we say to ourselves, okay, how do I get that push every day? What is it that pushes me to keep going? Because I posted the other day, you can get hundreds of no's from people. All you need is one yes from God. That's it. Just one. And whether that prolongs your career or opens up doors, don't know. If you got it done once and they picked you once, you can do it again. That's what
That's living proof.
That's
Living
what
proof.
I live by that. I live by that.
And I see some more questions. Liz wants to know, do your day-to-day have accountability conversations with yourself? Ooh.
Absolutely.
And let me see. Let me make sure I didn't miss it. Yeah, what's your morning routine for Carpe Diem? I like
it. My morning routine is stretching. As you get older, you have to stretch your body more. And by stretching, you can also have alone time with yourself. So that helps mentally, because if you just get up and you start your day and you start the menial things to prepare for the day, that can get you a little distracted. Some people consider it meditation or whatever. You know, a lot of people do yoga stuff. Whatever it is, stretch your body, because as you get older, especially being an active person, the day before might have been a long day, and you need at least 30 minutes to stretch and set up what you're going to knock out as the day's going by. You once you finish stretching, all right, I'm walking in to do this, I'm walking to do that, I'm prepared to do this. If you have a meeting and it's an early meeting, give yourself that time, stretch, just do that. What was the other thing someone had mentioned?
Do you have accountability conversations with yourself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Listen, sometimes you're gonna have distractions, and I think that's when people always say, "Well, what's the number one threat to anybody in entertainment?" Distractions. Um,
Mm.
will distraction. You see what I'm saying? Distractions will take you. Distractions will take you off your course or off your square. Some people say, or take you away from your North Star. Distractions can be relationships, fears, doubts, pains. And so the key is to not find a way to stay on your North. You have to figure out how to get rid of your distractions. Now, that's tough because as an unconventional person, you're looking to conform to the ways of the conventional world. It doesn't. I was going to post today, but I'll tell everyone that's listening, they'll get this, Jim. Our lives as entertainers is not conventional. Most conventional people live by holidays, birthdays, and events. We're living by whether we can get close enough to getting the budget to do what we need to do for our project, whether we can get enough auditions to hope that out of 5 we get 1. That's how we live. We live by the work we accomplish. We don't live by the holidays and birthdays and stuff. We join in on that stuff. Some of us do. Me, I don't even be knowing. I'm like, oh man, it's Mother's Day. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
come for my mom. Oh man, this month is Memorial Day. And so those to me are like speed bumps because you're moving, and boom. COVID was the biggest speed bump of my life.
Let us all back.
You see? And so 2020 was going to be the biggest time. We had just did the anniversary for Breaking Through Acting Workshop. Things were moving, and bam! The number one thing that could stop an acting class is not being able to touch, not being able to look into each other's eyes from across each other. And so many people were able to make that adjustment online. I did it for a second, and I was just like, yeah, I don't feel good taking money from students if I'm not teaching them that tactile work. And so you have to make sure that the way to hold yourself accountable is the day before, and have a big calendar on the wall. I've had you on the calendar for a month, and I'm like, okay, I got Stevie coming up, and when you hit me, remind me. I'm like, yeah, I got you on the calendar. If you're on the calendar, you're serious. It's legit. And so you have to make sure you hold yourself accountable in regards to what you got coming up, and relieving yourselves of those distractions.
Absolutely. Bo says that is real distractions. Yes.
We all,
Yes, in this business, it's about professionalism too, because people take that seriously. These big producers, directors,
yeah,
all of them, like the Steven Spielbergs, as I've mentioned, Greenwood, all of them. Professionalism is key. And even for me with this platform, I try to be on time with my interviews. If I need to set something back or move something up, I definitely will. Like last week, the last few days in the month of May, well, April, I had to kind of go through and push things up, move things back up, and set things in timely schedule and in timely manner. I'm always doing things on routine. I write things down. So preparation and more importantly, being taught is key, especially if you want to become an actor.
yeah, it's not conventional. Most people live by their holidays and their vacations and where they're going to travel next. Instagram reveals that. For us in the entertainment industry, sometimes we wake up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Sometimes you're going to sleep at 3 a.m. You're editing a project, you're putting stuff together, you're talking to people. It's tough. It's not easy. It's not conventional, and no one understands it. And if you expect, unless your family, like I just did this short, all of my people, shout out to Eric Moore, shout out to uh, everybody that was a part of it. My mom and my brother. My brother pressed play on the camera. My mom did craft service. My student Melvin did sound. My student Oliver was co-acting opposite me. We used his driveway. And then his wife was the sound person. She did the slate. None of them had experience, but look, they all helped. You see, and so that to us is conventional. Everything else is sitting around at a barbecue, unless you drink and have a good time. It's not conventional for us.
What is unacceptable for you personally and professionally? That's from you.
Mediocrity.
Mm.
Mediocrity. I don't like mediocre, and I don't like anyone that doesn't accept greatness. Now, greatness recognizes greatness. So a lot of people are mediocre because they feel like, okay, this is what I'm good at. And it's like, well, no, you might be good at many other things. And you have to explore that to make sure that you're the best. Raise the bar. James and Black, Joan Moten. These are people who, when they're opposite you, whether it's as an actor or they're behind the scenes, they raise that bar. That bar is raised. They take it to the next level. It's just, you look at it and you're like, okay, I'm inspired now. So yeah, indifference is another thing. I don't like people being indifferent. I think that we all have our conversations with God, and we'll have our final conversations with God, whether you believe in them or not. You know, there's a moment where you will stand before Him and you will have a conversation. How that conversation goes, I don't live your life. I don't live anybody's life. I live my own. And so for me, mediocrity is at the top of that list. I don't like.
God, I know about that. And you also, I skipped over it, but you also did another one of my shows. I've interviewed one of the guests on this show, Kareem Grimes. You did CW's All American.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that experience as well, too. What was that experience like? Another hit CW.
Bringing big smiles to me. Yo, All American. The actors out there, you'll understand what I'm saying. I'm not an auditioning actor. I'm not. I'm very good at showing up. And so a lot of times the opportunities for you to have roles in your life that just mesh perfectly, it happens, and it's cathartic when it happens. And I knew when I auditioned, I went in for that role. I actually auditioned opposite one of my actors, and I know he put it down, but I booked it because I knew, I was like, yeah, I booked that role. And sure enough, I got the call. Now, I knew Kareem has been on the show. Like, he's one of my favorite people in the whole world because he actually studied with me for a hot minute. But being on the set, it was his birthday. It was an actual anniversary of him actually being at my acting studio. You talk about Providence? Oh man, it was perfect. It couldn't have got any more perfect than that. He pretty much guided me and grooved me through the whole process, the whole day. It was amazing. Everybody on set was awesome. It was fun. We shot for 9 hours, and then guess what? They had to cut my part. But they ended up using me for all of the advertisements. People were saying, oh my God, I'm seeing you're going to be on All American. And I'm like, yeah, but I already got the call that they were just like, yeah, we ran over time. We're not going to be able to include this in the episode. So every now and then I post it for everybody to see. But, you know, when you book, you can credit yourself as, you know, I booked this. I was in this episode. They just didn't show it. And because they went in a different storyline. They took the storyline because all my work was with Kareem and the other character. So they went a different storyline, and they ended up, and everybody was like, man, if this storyline had stayed, you would have had probably a recurring, because it was very deep. It was really fun. And so it was a great day of shooting, great craft service. I love craft service. They were like, what do you need? Do you need anything? I'm like, no, I'm so used to getting my own stuff because I'm still a low key guy. And it was like, you want donuts? We can get you donuts. It was like, no, I can go get a donut myself. But it was cool. It was cool. And I've had several actors that studied under me that's been on the show. So that was a great experience. So thanks for asking about that one, because that brings back memories.
No problem. Oh, great question. How do you determine the longevity of a project?
Yeah, it's a very good question. For a short film, you're looking at after post, you're looking at 1 to 2 years. For a feature film, you're looking at 2 to 3 after post. So if you had, like, I'll give you a prime example with the short film Black Lightning. We shot it in 6 months total over time. And then it took 2 years for us to do VFX. So by the time the CW greenlit theirs, after we started it, because we started it first, we had to rush to get everything done. So we did it in 2 parts. But when you look at the whole film online, people say, oh, okay, it was a whole film. Because you have to check the dates, because a lot of people say, oh, you guys were inspired by the show. And it's like, no, the show was inspired by us. We were 2 years ahead of them. So it's very important that you understand. Even I think where actors make a lot of mistakes is they don't give enough life to the work they do. They'll, once the film drops, if it's a short, maybe they have the duration of the festivals, maybe not, depending on what the producers and the directors do. But that work is your work, and so you should always be shining, always be pushing yourself, always posting, constantly posting. And then with the feature, don't expect them to, because people always ask, okay, why is my career, am I not doing enough? And it's like, no, you're not reminding people that you're an actor. If you look at a lot of people's Instagrams, some of them will say personal trainer, physical fitness instructor, model. And then they don't even say actor. Or they don't say award-winning actor or award-winning whatever. Those things do make a difference, because people do watch your Instagram and they watch your Facebook and your Twitter. And people always go, oh, I just do Instagram, I don't do Twitter or Facebook. Well, look at what's going on with Elon Musk and everything. Yeah, the Twitter is still, people still, especially the news outlets, go to Twitter.
Very much so. And Farley Jackson is here, ladies and
Hey,
gentlemen.
Farley, I just gave you a shout out, Farley. I gave you several shout outs. So Farley's doing really good, man. He's hitting these TV shows, man. I'm proud of him. Very proud of him.
He did The Good Doctor. I actually sat down with Farley, and that was a great interview. Me and my co-host Johnny, we sat down and we did that interview. And just his interview was just so laid back and down.
It's, you know, you only get so many good best friends in your life. He's definitely one of them. He actually just did an episode of SWAT too, so I was very proud of him. I'm always proud of my actors and what they do. I keep up with them. Some of them I don't, because they've moved on to other acting studios, or they, for whatever reason, they just, I don't know what it is. People, they get what they need from you and they move on. My acting coach used to tell me that, Bobby. She said they get what they need and they move on, and I'm like, but I don't understand it. I have this strong sense of loyalty, and loyal to a fault at times. And it's always amazing to watch people forget where they come from. I got too many stories on that.
We have a question for you. A script can touch an actor personally to date. What has been your most personal project?
Great question. It has been Joshua, the Heart of a Warrior. It was a project that actually Farley and I was co-producing. Quinette Walters, who she's on Tyler Perry's show, she was in it. There's a lot of people who are higher up now in the industry. They were all part of this project, and it was during a time when self-producing was a tough thing, because now the equipment is cheap. You can get a camera that has filmic quality. You can do iPhones and stuff. You can do all kinds of stuff really cheap now. But back then, you needed a budget. And Farley had some additional money, and we had resources and people who wanted to work. And we had this script, and it was about an MMA fighter, who was me, who gets hit in the head, and he becomes almost he has mental issues, and it was just a powerful piece, because I wrote it in 2 weeks. Which was the fastest script that I ever wrote, and it was very in depth, and it. I hope maybe one day I can still do it. I won't be able to play the character, but it's all about finding the funding to make these things happen. But it was an amazing piece, because the work for the actors was amazing. The work for the actors, for me, to get lost. Farley was there 100% with me. Quinn was there. There was so much involved in that script that, had we were able to complete it, it would have really raised the bar and changed things for the Black community when it comes to entertainment.
Another question. Have you discovered any surprising qualities of self through your art?
Um, Surprising, it would have to be the Eclectic Sense. My mom, the things that she introduced me to was film and music. Okay, my mom came from the Motown era, so that was her teen life, you know. But she also knew stuff before that, old jazz and stuff. And so, growing up, especially being in the projects or being a city or urban kid, we have a minority sense of what we like, right? We have a minority sense of what we like. We're very prejudiced in our thinking in regards to what is good and what's bad.
Right.
When I was growing up, the stuff that she would introduce me to, like one of my favorite actors is James Cagney. So, so that eclecticism of the different styles of music and different films and different things. She was very big on you have to be cultured. When I was a kid, we used to listen to Bach and Beethoven and stuff like that. And when you're a young black kid in the project, you don't hear that. But whether she forced us to listen to it or to watch it or not, it was something that helped me to realize you can do anything. Because once now when I got older and I started getting into different environments and I knew West Side Story or I knew different plays and different books that I read and different because of my mom, it opened up doors for me that I didn't realize would open because I wasn't so focused and centered on what I like. She was big on that. She's big on that with food, really. I'm not that big. Like I've had frog legs. No, I'm good. Just give me chicken, some fish and turkey. But she'll try all of that. I'm big on the experiences, absolutely, music and art and stuff like that. And I'll give you a prime example. Because of that, my first extra job was on a movie called Free Jack with Emilio Estevez, Rene Russo, and Anthony Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
Where I was at, it was in Atlanta, out in Atlanta. Where I was at, I was literally next to Emilio Estevez. And he starts singing a song from Hair. And because I knew the play and I knew the musical, I started singing with him. And he was like, you know this? He was stuck. He was shocked. Primarily because it's a black guy singing Hair. And every time they would bring the car back and forth, he'd get out and we'd sing a new song. And so we kind of connected that way, whereas other people were looking for ways to connect by talking about Demi Moore and everything that didn't need to be talked about. But because I had that eclectic mind state of, okay, yeah, this is something that I tried. I like the play. I like the musical. I know the songs. I ended up meeting and bonding with Emilio Estevez for that time.
See, it's about connections. We got another question. What has been a pivotal moment in your life that changed your approach to become a man, if changed?
My muggings. If I never got mugged in New York as a kid, because I'm deep down inside, I'm a pacifist. Now, in my other deep down side, I'm violent. I like violence. But I was a pacifist because of the violence. And so the muggings showed me the harsh realities of the world. It showed me that in the end, you more than likely will be by yourself. you have to prepare yourself for every aspect. And so violence has a horrible way, whether it's violence inside your family or violence that you experience in situations. Because there's so much truth in it. I don't know if that makes sense, but um, to know that your life can be taken helps you to appreciate holding on to life. And so that's what it taught me. Those muggings, they taught me, man, that people are capable of this. So what do I want to do? See, so how does this correlate with entertainment? People always say, if they don't give you a seat at the table, build your own table. And that's very true. But you have to have like-minded individuals who will help you build that table. You can't build a table by yourself. No one can. They always say that phrase, no one person makes an island. So you have to be able to understand that a situation like that got me to a place where I was like, okay, yeah, I don't ever want to experience this again. So what do I do? Well, I'm a 38-year martial art veteran in the Hall of Fame. So that's how hard I work. And so I work as hard with all of that, everything that I do. You understand?
What is your power word and why, and how does it apply to your life?
Good one. The power word. I don't want to say it wrong because I have several different words that I use. So I'm gonna have to find one that I definitely can give you. Faith. Faith is one, because when you do everything that you can do and nothing is still working out, you have to ask yourself, okay, how do I keep going? And it's by faith. And it's like, the scripture says, works without faith is dead. And it takes faith to move mountains. Faith, when you're working on a project, is really all you got, because you may not have finance, you may not have resources, you may not have connections. But if you have faith in yourself and in what you're doing, it will open up the doors for things to come through. It gives God the means to work through the situation. And it also helps you to understand that it's going to get done no matter what. That it will get done no matter what. And so for me, faith is a power word, because I have, it's different than hope. It's like I always say, you can have faith and still crack somebody in the face. Hope is like, well, I hope I can. No. I don't hope to do anything. I have faith in knowing, and I have faith in myself in knowing that I can do it. Not so much faith in others, because that will disappoint you, right? You can get disappointed, because what does depression come from? Unmet expectation, frustration, unmet expectation. When you have expectations that something's supposed to happen, so in essence, like I said, you're doing everything you can to make something work, and it's not popping yet. Don't let that disillude your faith, because if you go back to, okay, so faith also is seeing it, right? For some people, they have to see it, right? In order to know it's possible. Well, if you booked a job before, you're going to book a job again. You just got to know that you did it. So you have faith in yourself, you know that you can do it. But that's one of my power words. There's several others, but that one sticks out to me in order to help whoever's watching this, because I know that I have faith that it's going to work. I have faith in God. I have faith in myself. I have faith in the situation. If you're alive, you get it done.
If you were a resident in a different planet, what would be the first thing you would shout to the universe? And that's from Liz.
A different planet. I've thought about that from time to time. The word would be love. I'd scream in my biggest, strongest voice, love. Because love is the thing that can dissolute anything. And I'm not talking about, you have several different types of love. You have eros love, you have agape love, you have phileo love, you have the brotherly love, you have different types of love. I'm talking about love because love is sacrifice. And so if we get back to that as a human, as a culture, as a species, like, I think we're lacking love. Like, as you see things, so lack of love is intolerance. So if you have love brings in understanding. And so right now, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that none of us understand, is because we lack love.
Yes.
I mean, I ain't gotta like what you do, but I can understand it. But if I say I love you, I'm gonna get out your space and let you be. How about that? You see, that's the sacrifice. Maybe I don't need to be in your space. Let me let you have your space. There we go. Now that dilutes the situation. I ain't got no problem now.
We got two more questions and then we're going to get to our games. Today is the Met Gala fashion dolls, so I have to do fashion coverage for that.
Yes.
So we're also going to do that, the biggest event in fashion ever, and the theme is this year's Met Gala's theme is, let me see, because I posted it earlier, fashion dolls. So if you guys want to know, I just posted it. So if you're wanting to know what it is, I just posted it. And Regina King is also one of the co-chairs. So we mentioned Regina King. And the theme is, let's get right into it. It is, let's see, Gilded Age. It is the Gilded Age. So if you like the New Age century, Marie Antoinette, then you will love the Gilded Age. And it goes into the Met Gala fashion in America, ties into 2021's theme. So we're going to keep this interview going, Fashion Dolls. I'm going to take a few more questions and then we're going to get into our games. And then I'm going to take a few more questions and then we're going to conclude. We try to do it on a time base here. All right. We've got three questions. Okay. What is your take on the word try? How do you feel about the following words? Waves, sound, checkered, smooth. And what is your take away from the human race?
Okay. That must be somebody I know that asked me about the word try. I hate the word try because try says you are attempting. And so going back to what I meant about faith, if you have faith in yourself, then you know it's going to happen. You know, it's already possible. It's going to happen. The work's already been done. All you got to do is meet up with your blessing. So if you're trying, right, because a lot of people are trying, I'm trying. There was a loser. There's some loser somewhere back in time that instead of stepping up and making it happen, they said, I tried. And that became a constant thing. That doesn't exist in my vocabulary. And I'm only mentioning it now because I have to talk about it in a way of describing what that is. Don't try to do anything. I mean, you got Yoda, he said it. Try, do not, try. Do not try. Do not try. And then you got Mr. Miyagi. Don't try, Dan, you do. I believe those who believe in saying try in their vocabulary have already defeated themselves. Because you give yourself an option. Okay, if I tried, then hey, I tried. No. You do it. When your mama told you clean up that room and you went and did you try? No, you did it because she whooped that tail. I go the era. You don't try to make up the bed. You do what I tell you to do. And so trying to me, it just gives off a stench. I don't try to do anything. I do it. In the Bible, the word try is a thing of looking at me. When David says to God, try me and know my anxieties.
Exactly.
Get tried. Put me on test. Put me on trial. Not try. I'm gonna try to do it. So no. Yeah. Okay. Enough about that word. Somebody mentioned what was the other question? There was another question about words.
What is your takeaway on the human race, and how do you feel about the words wave, sound, checkered, and smooth?
Oh, that's very eloquent. Good one. Wave, sound, checkered, and smooth. It brings back music to me. Waves, the software waves, sound, which is a very powerful thing in regards to how we interact with each other. Thinking about Prince right now. How music is the soundtrack to our lives.
Yes.
Thinking about my brother right now. God, the memories. Sound is memories. Checkers, it's a fun ass game. I'm a beast at it. If you ever play me, just know you're gonna go away sad. I'm missing a word. What was the other word? Sound, chicken, waves.
Smooth.
Smooth. Ooh. D'Angelo wrote a song called Smooth. One of my favorite tracks, actually. I'd say it's in my top 20. Whenever I hear that track, I used to date a girl that I kind of dedicated that song to, Smooth. When that album came out, to me, it speaks. You talking about the Met Gala, right? There's certain people that's going to get out there, man, and whatever they're wearing, they're going to be so smooth with it. Bruce Lee was smooth.
Yes.
Michael Jackson was smooth. He wrote a song, Smooth Criminal. Prince, oh God, that man, smooth. you know, Whitney Houston's voice, smooth. You see, so the word smooth is actually a very big word in our community of the Black community. It means a lot to us. The actor Denzel Washington's acting is smooth. Viola Davis, the way she'll give you a look when she was on the show How to Get Away with Murder, the certain things that she would do was so smooth. That's why that meme of her picking up her purse and walking out.
Yes.
One of the most popular, the way she looked, that was every Black mama's look, right? So yeah, um, my thoughts about the human race, I don't have too many good thoughts lately, and that's primarily because it's so splintered and fractured. Everyone's, you have liberals, conservatives, Democrats, Republicans, black, white, and it's just like vax, anti-vax. It's like and everyone always wants you to choose a side, and it's like, what if you don't want to have any side? What if you just want
Neutral. You know, in between.
just
Right.
just live and let people live and let people live, and don't judge something unless you're capable of doing it. If you can't do it, you don't have. To me, you don't have the right to judging it. That's just my opinion. Yeah, and Luther. Oh, somebody said Luther. Yeah, Annalise was smooth. Luther's voice was smooth. Woo! Yeah, that man had a smooth voice. Smooth. You know, the way I like strong Black women, the way they walk. Smooth. You can hear the jazz as they walk. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, smooth.
Great question. What is your strength as a man and as a human being? Wow.
My strength as a man is locking into the ancestors of my people that taught me what they taught me. Um, my integrity, that I hold more than anything. I will not compromise anything morally that will take me offline. Anybody that knows me knows if I give my word, I'm gonna keep it. Yeah, and so as I progress more into this industry, and I've been told that people say I asked around about you, and they said the number one thing is your integrity. That's everything. As a human being, we need to be there for each other. It's tough nowadays because the thing is the world is more narcissistic than ever. You know, we're taught that we have to be about ourselves. It's tough, but I promote that a lot. I mean, I want to be. I want my culture, and I want people to be proud of me in general. Period. But I want my culture because everything that I do in regards to my entertainment is to uplift Black men. I think that we don't get enough of that. I think there needs to be more of that. A lot of the problems that a lot of Black men have is they don't have therapy, and you know, that's what you see in this big movement now of mental health. And it's like, no, there's a lot more to it. A lot of us are holding up things. I talk about my abuse like it's nothing. I have no problem. There's no shame in it. But a lot of men, they suffer in silence. So
We talked about this when I did my interview with B. Jordan Dupatti. He said that as well too. And Renaissance Jones is going to be on the show Saturday. He did a movie, Who Do Men Talk To? Him and Ron Royster, who are also actors, and it talks about the challenges that Black men face, and some of them being depression, mental health disorder, especially not just as Black men, but as a collective. For us as a collective, as Black people, that's something we don't talk about enough of, and that's mental health. I talk about it a lot on my platform, and we have to get Black men to start normalizing mental health, to
yeah,
open up, and it's going to take time, And for myself as a Black woman, as a woman in general, you know, it's easier for us because we have that emotional stability, and we're able to open up and be vulnerable about certain things. But Black men, you're seeing it more and more of them open and being transparent and letting us know as the women what's going on in their lives because we can't do it alone. It takes a village. It takes support. It takes people who care.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think. Listen, you, it just starts with you talking and understanding. The black community for a long time was very anti therapy for a long time. Very, very much. You keep the family business to your family.
What goes behind these walls stays behind these walls.
All that. It's trash. It's trash. It's trash. It's trash. Um, Fear. Someone mentioned fear. I only fear God. I don't fear anything. Honestly, I really don't. I don't fear death. I don't fear anything. Um, I'll fight anybody, and that's not a thing of being just violent. It's just I realize that the fight is constantly with yourself. So fear is not knowing. And I always say, like a lot of times people say, "Man, you seem like you went to college," and I'm like, "Well, what makes that? Is it because I seem like I'm book smart, or because I'm a student?" I didn't go to college, but I remember wanting to know things. So for 2 years, I just went to the library and I just read books. Didn't matter what it was, I just pull it out and I read. If I want to read about it, I've learned about it. Nowadays, you have a plethora of information online. Now, they call misinformation what it is. You just have to know if it's consistent, it's not misinformation. How many books you gonna read that's similar before you start to accept what's the truth? So I live by the truth. So I don't fear anything other than not being honest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our wait, we got what is the ultimate vindication for you?
Success.
Mm.
You know, Tracy, Tracy Chambers, is it? For Lady Sings, not Lady Sings the Blues.
Mahogany. Mahogany. Yeah.
Yeah, Daphne, she Daphne, and we go back and forth with that line. The way she kept saying it in that movie, um, getting it done, getting it done. You don't have to say anything bad to people. Yeah, it's do the work and let the work speak for you. And it took me time because I am somewhat of a confrontative person. Like I'll confront to a certain extent, but because I'm like I'm gonna let you know I have more of an old black man mindset nowadays in my patience. I look here, you know. But a lot of times when people you shut them off. I mean, no one wants to be ignored. Everyone wants attention. And they said the greatest thing that God will do to you is turn his back on you and say, depart from me, I never knew you. And that's terrifying. I think it's every child wants to be accepted by their parent. And people have to remember that God is your father. So when you understand that, it's like, okay, look at your life and how you deal with your life and deal with your parents. A lot of people never overcome divorces. They never overcome the breakups. And a lot of brothers, black guys that I counsel, they don't have a dad. And it's like, well, I didn't have my dad around. And man, a lot of people get tormented from that and they deal with the toxicity of that. And so, you have every right to ask a question and get a correct answer. And, so um, yeah.
And it's that trauma, and we need more and more people to
And
open up about their experiences of life. And again, it's just gonna take time. It's gonna take time.
people quick to be like live your authentic self, but they don't give you the steps to do it.
Uh,
They don't give you the steps to do it. I'll tell you, uh, we have in the acting alum of our acting studio, Breaking Through Acting Workshop, one of the greatest actors was Jason Green, who's also known as Freckles. And this is when it wasn't comfortable with being trans or non-binary, or people had to label you. And
right.
he came in my acting studio and he said, the thing that I received more from you than any other place was love. And I'm like, look, here, you're an artist. I don't give a damn about your sex or who you sexing or what you doing. In here, the roles are who you answer to. You don't answer to me, of course, for safety reasons or whatever. Yeah, but when it comes to the work, do your work. And being your authentic self is doing the work that affects people and changes lives, whether it's playing music, singing, dancing. Be honest about that. And don't let anybody take it from you, because they will. This industry, I've seen a lot of people be tremendously talented, and once they got to a point of questioning themselves if they were really talented or not, that's when their world went upside down. And I tell people all the time, no, 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 don't let people do that. It's okay to sprinkle a little arrogance on yourself, just a little. Just a little. Nobody's saying be conceited and being, hard
Right.
to do it. Okay, when people ask for an autograph, give it to them. I don't care if you coming out the bathroom with a towel on and they're knocking on your door. Give them that autograph. That's your job. That comes with the territory. You can't. No, I got a private life. You don't have a private life as an actor, as an artist in entertainment. You don't have that. Every time they buy a ticket, that's your job. That's part of your job. You affect people. There's a power that people was talking about, the slap heard around the world. You affect people. People hold you in esteem. It's kind of like when sports players say, it's not my job to raise your child, but they look up to you because you're capable of doing things that parents can't do. So there's a responsibility there now. And so I've learned that about myself. It's when I walk in the room, I walk in knowing that sometimes someone's going to ask something and I may not be in space. But, I've learned, Stevie, I've learned that once it's on, it's always on. But that's love, because love is sacrifice. So if you may need to have your space, your moment. Stay home. A lot of these celebrity friends of mine, they got multi-million-dollar houses, and they feel like they got to be out, and then they got to have privacy while they out. It's like, that's not how that works. Stay home. If you got an estate, I stay home.
Exactly. Let me see if I missed anything. Bo's applauding that. Bravo, Larry Banks. What is an item you keep from your childhood and why?
An item? Ooh, good question. Let me see. First off, shout out to Larry. Larry, I hope you're healing and everything is well. I'll be in touch with you soon. Um, an item for childhood. I would say, well, I didn't have a really good childhood, so there's a lot of things that are missing from that era. Um, I would say teenage life. Yeah, everything Prince I got. Concert tickets. One of my closest friends in high school, he's still a very close friend now, Mark Cunningham, took me to my first concert, which was Prince, Madison Square Garden. I still got that ticket. And so stuff like that, that I probably still have somewhere in storage. My mom is a purveyor of Skinner heirlooms and stuff. We got stuff, man. That, like, you still got that? uh, the estate, she got all that stuff, man. So there's nothing really, like, I don't have a charm if you're asking a charm. So people give me watches. I got so many watches that's still in storage. I never wear jewelry. So there's nothing that I have tangible other than in my book of Prince stuff and concert tickets and stuff. Like, so,
Memorabilia.
yeah, memorabilia. Yeah, I keep that. Shout out to Brandon Heitkamp. Can't wait to work with you as well. 10-year reunion in regards to selling it. Wow. He was in my one of my first shorts, Brandon Heitkamp, an amazing actor. It's an award-winning short as well. And so it's 10 years. Last month was 10 years to the release of the film, the release of it.
All right, fashion dolls, it is about that time. We're going to get into the rapid five with Choice. And Choice has to tell us 5 things that he can't live without. The next one is going to be called His Stars. I'm going to drop the name of some of your famous students, and you give us one word to describe each and every one of them. All
Wow.
right, so we're going to start off with the rapid five. What are 5 things that Choice can't live without?
Uh, uh, my car, my mom, uh, martial arts, God,
Mm.
um, my talent.
And you included mom into that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And God first and everything. God first and everything.
absolutely.
You've been speaking about it throughout this whole interview, and as well as I do, because every morning I get up and I give morning affirmation and pray.
That's your relationship. Absolutely. Shout out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, fashion dolls, it is time for his thoughts. So in this segment, this is where it's like actors on actors, but I'm gonna give the name of some of your students, some actors that came up under you that have taken advice and nuggets from you, and you
Oh,
give us one word to describe one of each and every one of them. So
oh,
we're gonna start off with Bo Emerson.
oh, innovative.
Mm, okay. Farley Jackson.
Oh, ferocious.
Mm, Kareem Grimes.
Oh, one word. Uh, energy.
Okay, okay. And we've got a couple more. Larry Banks.
Driven.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, Choice Skinner.
Oh man, powerhouse. Powerhouse.
Brandon said that in the comments. Let me see. Choice is a force to be reckoned with.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you.
How
Wow.
does it feel to know that these actors that came up that you've given advice, that you've watched grow and encourage along the way? How does it feel to know that they still to this day? Because some people in this industry they get such a big head and they don't know how to humble themselves along the way. But to know that these actors that you've trained, that grew up under you, still idolize you and say, wow, I thank this man.
It's love. It's really love. Anybody that worked with me in any capacity, whether it's through acting, filmmaking, martial arts, music, they know that the level of love that it takes. Conventional people have kids. They have babies. They adopt. They love their kids. When you are an entertainer, every project you do is your baby. Every project you do is your baby. Everything you create, what the word means to bring forth, is your baby. And some people ain't gonna like your baby. Some people gonna talk bad about your baby, but it's your baby. And these actors that I worked with, whatever seed I planted in them, whatever I gave them, that has, I mean, you mentioned Kareem. It's just, when I say energy, his level of energy is unfounded. I mean, he goes show to show to show to show. If you ever see him host, he's phenomenal hosting. That when I was on the set with him, with the different takes he was doing, he never really questioned himself. He would do whatever adjustments that need to be made. He's got so much energy, and to see him get to the level of success he's at, Farley, to see what he's doing, the guest stars and stuff, it's like, because it's an affirmation for me, because I saw it when they first walked in. I saw, and Kareem's been working since Boys in the Hood. He was a kid actor.
Yes.
So for me, it's like, well done. Well done. Bo Emerson, that was an online relationship. And look what he's been doing. Like, I keep up with him. I see what he's got going on. You know? So yeah.
What actor would play you in a documentary or biography about your life? And how does art speak to your spirit?
Well, I can speak on art. I don't know who would play me. I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's a question that a lot of actors and or musicians, especially, like, I'm pretty sure they ask Prince, like, who would play you in Prince?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, they asked Michael once, and Michael said, as long as they're black. So that was interesting. I don't know. I look at my life, and I always, when I teach acting, I always tell people that, we're boring to an extent, but other people find us fascinating. When you look at someone else's life, you find their life fascinating. You always say, man, you have a great life. And then when people look at your life, they tell you your life is fascinating, but you don't see it because you're living it. So
Right.
I would want someone unknown. I wouldn't want a name. I'd want someone unknown. Someone, give them a shot. someone up and coming, a strong actor with a passion to tell life, because I have lived a life that I do know. But art speaks to me in such a profound way, from music to acting. I can watch still to this day Denzel's performance in Training Day over and over and over again. His performance in Malcolm X over and over and over again. The Silence of the Lambs and repeat. I can watch that over and over and over again. I can watch so many different performances and see such nuance in the differences of what they're doing each take or each scene. That's how art speaks to me. It speaks to me in a way of, I'll tell you like this. People say, what are your favorite films? And I'm like, the films that I own on Blu-ray, you know, they're my favorite films because I can watch them. I can watch The Color Purple over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over and over again. A lot of people say, I don't like it. And I'm like, well, that's someone's hardship. Everybody goes through hardship. I can watch What's Love Got to Do with it over and over and over again. Those films where we know key lines to them. That's how art speaks to me. If there's Last Dragon, if there's no lines in it, if there's no lines that I can't recite, more than likely it wasn't a film that I liked. Art speaks to me in the sense that it affects us. It touches us. To where even if I'm giving a dissertation or I'm counseling someone, I'll end up stealing a line from a movie. Oh man, I find myself 5 films, I'm saying 5 different movie lines.
All right, fashion dolls. We are now at the final hour. So my last question for you is, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to follow in your footsteps? Because you've influenced and impacted a lot of people's lives throughout this entire interview, and actors that you previously worked with, and you still have an impact. What advice would you give to the next generation of actors that are looking to follow in your footsteps?
Okay, that's a layered question. Someone had mentioned about acting outside of class, other than class. Be more proactive in creating your own content. That's number one. There's no excuse for you not to have content. You have to be more proactive with the content. Don't rely on just auditioning, because you have to figure out whether you are an auditioning actor or not. Some people are great. I find that the people who are more competitive are more prone to being auditioning actors. I'm not really a competitive person. I'm a do or die person. It's like you live or you don't. So it's like, all right, I got to do this audition. Okay, I'm gonna do the best that I can. But some people enjoy the process. They enjoy going in there and doing the work. I enjoy being on set. I enjoy having the role, and then I'm gonna find the magic to bring to the role. My advice in all respect is to, if you know that you're doing it and you keep doing it, eventually it comes to pass. So it's not figuring out what you have to do to make it, whatever that is. It's figuring out what you do as you're going about it. And a lot of actors, like I said, it goes back to distractions, right? So you have to eliminate those distractions. The more you get to know yourself, the more you start to know what's distracting you. If it's a relationship, if it's the need to be loved, if it's fear, if it's doubt, if it's because I've had actors who are afraid of being broke because they feel like, well, I don't want to give this job up, and they gave up great roles because the job would interfere. And I get it. That means you lack faith. So my advice would be, make sure you have the resources to keep doing content. That's what I'm working on right now, because if they decide to lock the country down again or whatever they decide to do, I want to be in a position where I can continue to be creative. That's the
Don't have a plan B and a plan A.
that's the truth of that. And I don't want it to be, okay, I'm working for a corporation, because look at how that was for people. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their jobs. So I want to be able to have a podcast, I'm gonna be doing a lot. I'm gonna have a podcast. I'm gonna be streaming some martial arts throughout the week. Um, I want to do more skits. I think skits are really cool. Just seeing the different skits. You should be doing some skits too. You should definitely be doing some skits, Stevie, for sure. I know you got a good sense of humor, so I know there'll be some good stuff coming out from you. But I think that's where it begins. Because I think a lot of times for us, it's like if we don't have anyone helping us, we can't do it. Like I said, my mom did craft service. My brother pressed record on the camera. My students held the lights, did the sound, and acted opposite me. Also did the slate. So I just told them what to do, and they were loving me enough to do it. That's the sacrifice.
Bo says, yes, podcast.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm gonna have two podcasts. I'm gonna have one on acting, specific for acting, which you prepare for the book when it comes out, and then I'm gonna have one on. I have an idea. It's called "It's Time to Heal," and that's for people who call in and need advice, and as a community and a collective to be able to help people. There's a lot of speakers out there, but some of them are so brash and abrasive in how their approach is, and it's just like I get it. You get trolls, but sometimes you just want to be able to listen through, and because listen, once you counsel, you already know as soon as they speak the first sentence what it's about. And so a lot of times the hosts are so abrasive and brash and they want to get through it. And it's like, no, sometimes that person needs their scab,
That support.
yeah,
Right.
rubbed off, not just ripped off. Rub it off. And then, so that's going to be one of the first things up, hopefully in the next month or so.
The one color you wear every day to remind you to keep going.
When I was younger, it was black. And now it's gray because gray is neutral. So gray tells me that I can get through anything. There's always something that I'm wearing that's gray, whether it's socks or underwear, or even if you don't see it, it's gray. Gray is a neutral color. When they edit in editing bays, we edit with the color gray. We have what's called a gray card when we slate the film. Sometimes you color correct by using the color gray. So gray can be anything. You put enough darkness in it, it becomes a different color. Um, you can use it for so many different things.
All right, fashion dolls. And I think that just about concludes our interview. Before we close out, is there any projects that people need to be on the lookout for and let everyone know where they can follow you?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a lot coming up, like I said, with the podcast and everything. Darkon Entertainment on YouTube, pretty much is my head of all. Darkon Entertainment, so DarkanEnt.com is my main website. We have a film, A New Life, that's coming out soon. It's finished in post-production. We're just working on a distribution. Yeah. Stars Chris Rouse, Daphne McGarry Clark, and a couple of other actors from the studio who were a part of it. Actually, Larry Banks was in it too. He's top of the show. And then I have a short film that I just shot called Two Killers in a Car. It's a long story, but it's a great little short film that I'm editing. And another film called Hope that I co-directed with Danny Royce. You should get him on your show. Danny's a very busy actor. He's got a lot going on. He's a very good friend. He's a very powerful interviewee as well. He interviewed me on his show. Also studied at Breaking Through Acting Workshop. And the book, which I hope to have by the end of summer. I planned that a year ago, but COVID really made it tough to do that. But the book will be ready soon. And then the podcast. Just keep up with me on Facebook at Choice J Skinner, and on Instagram at Darkon2000, DARKAN 2000.
It was such a pleasure having you here, and I definitely would love to have you back again in the future.
Thank you. You about to go in on the Met, ain't you? You about to go
Yeah.
in.
I'm waiting for all the looks to hit. So you guys just make sure you guys are following me here. Make sure you are subscribed to Darkon ENT on YouTube. Make sure you guys subscribe to Style by Stevie on YouTube. Tomorrow, joining us, we have some more amazing actors throughout this week. Eternal Sincere joins me tomorrow, A.G. Robinson, who was in the audience, joins me Wednesday. So make sure you guys stay tuned throughout this week. Renaissance joins me Saturday. So make sure you guys tune in here on Style by Stevie. Special thanks to award-winning actor, writer, director, producer Choice Skinner. It was such an honor to
Thank
have you
you.
here.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate you so much. Keep going, okay?
I sure will. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Take care, everyone. Special thanks to Bo Emerson, Farley Jackson, my makeup artist, Melanie Nalamai Bridges. Special thanks to all of you guys for just being here and so supportive. I love you all. Y'all, please take care, be safe, and be on the lookout for Met Gala fashion coverage. Gilded Glamour is the theme. Take care, everyone.